So, Andrew, tell us about yourself. What's your background?
Well, first of all, my name is Andrew Carlos Wendt. I'm from city of Saginaw, proud resident. I've been here since 1996. A lot of people know me as I wear different caps. The first one is I was a music teacher for the city of Saginaw and Saginaw Township. I've taught music in the state of Michigan for close to 17 and a half years, and very proud of it. And that's what I did mainly here in the city of Saginaw, but I also worked at Next Tier Automotive for 6 years. And that's my working background. And then I also love to coach. So I coached high school football. I was on the first coaching staff for Saginaw United, the new school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we started the first 3 years of coaching. And I was the special teams coach, and that is the coach that teaches kids how to kick the ball and everything. So that's really cool. And then I also coached my son in baseball from T-ball all the way to U16. And then I coached my daughter soccer from age 6 years old all the way to age 17. And I actually coached women's soccer for Saginaw New Vale Catholic High School, women's soccer program, JV, and assisted at the varsity. And then I also coached at Arthur Hill High School, women's soccer program, JV and varsity coach. And on top of that, I also coach boys basketball.
Oh my gosh.
So from middle school all the way to high school.
You love sports.
I love that, but besides sports, I also was on city council for the city of Saginaw for 2 terms, which is for 8 years, and I served from 2005 to 2013. And that was during I call it the tale of two cities. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times.
The city council, what did you say, from 2005
5 to 2013. 2005, 2013.
Okay. So you live in the city?
Yes, I live in the city. I lived in the township for maybe 2 years and then moved back. And so I love where I live right now. It's functional for me based upon my disability of being blind. So,
where do you live in Saginaw?
Where?
Around, like what's the area?
That would be Old Town.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Hamilton Street area.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Everybody's like, hey, you must hate it. It's so loud. I'm no, it's actually pretty quiet. So we have a good landlord. We have very good tenants. So people respect where we live.
Well, I have to ask you about your music because
Go ahead.
I do have a piano here in the shop as
nice.
well. I played the piano, had lessons from 3rd grade to 11th grade, and I still play. I'm not the best, but I enjoy it. So what's your music?
Well, I'm classically trained trombone player. I attended Michigan State University and graduated with a degree in instrumental music education, K through 12, and I started from the very bottom, which is campus band, and then I made it all the way to the top wind ensemble. It took me 5 years, but I did it. That was my goal. And I was also in the Spartan Marching Band, one of the best marching bands in the world.
Oh, you went to Michigan State.
Michigan State.
Me too.
Yep. Five years I was in the marching band. So if it could be a profession, I would do that forever. Yep.
That's really cool. What's your degree?
Instrumental music education.
Okay.
So we got a degree from the School of Music and for the department, Michigan's state's education system. So.
All right.
Yeah.
What'd you do at Next Year?
Next year, I worked in Plant 5. I'm a proud UAW 699 member, and I worked in Plant 5. Sometimes they ship me over to Plant 4 or 7 to work on the housings or the other parts. And then in Plant 5, I pretty much worked 90% of the departments, except for the ones I wasn't certified. Other than that, we build housings and half shafts, stuff like that.
What'd you do? Work the machines or what?
Yeah, I worked the pods, the machines, heat treatment, And then I started on line 89 and worked all the lines pretty much. So
pretty cool.
I think they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines. I think 6 lines. Yeah.
And how old are your kids?
So I have 2 children. They don't want me to talk much about them,
Okay.
and we could talk about that later.
Okay.
But I do have 2 children, and my daughter's 29, and my son is 23.
Okay, so you got grown kids.
I have grown kids, and they're doing very, very well. And my son's graduating from Grand Valley State on the 6th of December.
That's awesome.
So we're really, really excited, and he's killing it. He's got 2 jobs, going to school full time.
Right.
He's like me, always busy.
Well, let me circle around to your city council experience. So that was 2005 to 2013. So that's a good long time. That's 8 years
Yes.
on the city council. So I'm sure
Yes.
you've seen a lot. Tell me a little bit about that experience.
Well, I came into a time where city council wasn't very respected for the various reasons. I don't need to get into those reasons, but we worked hard to build trust with the city residents because they didn't trust us, and we had to work hard together. And it took some time. Not gonna sugarcoat it. It took some time because they didn't like me because I was Republican, and they thought I had these crazy values and stuff like that. And they finally realized that I'm there to get work done. Politics need to be pushed aside, and the citizens' well-being and how they can raise their families in the city of Saginaw was more important than politics to me.
Yeah.
So with that being said, the first 4 years was very tough. We were going through the housing crisis, where the mortgages were failing and people were losing their homes. And then on top of that, the auto industry was completely collapsing. It was its final stages, and the city was on life support, and we had a lot of problems. A lot of people don't realize that we lost 6,800 residents, and almost 45. That almost equates to 4,500 jobs from 2007 to 2010, and that's traumatic for any community, and that's something we had to recover from.
What'd you say, 6,800?
6,800.
People left Saginaw,
Yes.
the city, because there wasn't any more jobs to plant.
The county.
Oh, the county.
Still, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Yes, we're definitely losing population.
Yeah, and here's not an example. Here's a fact. So when I started in 2005, we had 55,000 residents. Now we have 45,000,
Yeah.
and we might even be under it, 45,000. So we're just continually bleeding citizens, and not only do we saw our own families and friends leave our community because they had to go to Ohio, Indiana, Texas, Tennessee, Canada, and even Mexico to follow their jobs. And they never came back. So we could talk about that in a little bit, but that was my first 4 years. Plus we had to solve the crime problem, which was never really solved. We helped stop the bleeding of the high crime, which is high priority 1 and priority 2 crimes. And that was a big issue. And then we had to reestablish some kind of commerce, some kind of new businesses within our communities. So that's where we started to establish the medical corridor on Washington Avenue. That's where St. Mary's is and CMU is now at, along with Covenant Healthcare. So I was part of the Riverfront Commission and Synergy, which is to bring Covenant and St. Mary's together so that Central Michigan can bring the medical school down to Saginaw.
So you were at the forefront of that whole project, the medical diamond.
100%. That was the start of the medical diamond, and
Yeah.
now they're going to try to fulfill the whole vision and opportunities that we possibly have downtown Saginaw. So.
Well, those are three really hot topics that I actually did want to talk to you about. So, one, well, this is the population loss, and how do we keep people in Saginaw? Because, I mean, we have our families here. Like you said, your family and friends are like leaving. We don't want our people to leave, and it's very stressful. So, how do we grow Saginaw instead of lose population? And then that ties into the crime in Saginaw being a high crime city. I think they say that it's like the third highest crime in Michigan. I'm not sure if that's accurate, but you got the population, the crime, and then of course that all ties around back to bringing businesses here. So let's talk about that more. Tell me more about like your experience with that and what you've seen, because you're in the city. So I think that's really cool to get your perspective.
Well, first of all, it's kind of like a three-layered cake. It's the only way I could explain it. It's not a three-layered cake unless you have all the layers working together to make that cake. So here's what I mean. Education is the key. To have a good, strong education. Public safety is the other key, the other layer of the cake. And then having a sound economic vision for creating jobs, and then developing jobs, and then also keeping the jobs that we have. That's also a big thing that we need to do. So let's talk about education.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you the bad first.
Okay.
So in the city of Saginaw last year, 19% of the students passed proficiently the SAT test.
Okay. 19%.
37%, maybe 38% in Saginaw Township.
So a lot less than Saginaw.
A lot more.
Oh wait, you said 19%?
For city of Saginaw students and 37% for Saginaw Township. The average in the state of Michigan is 47. So even though Saginaw Township is way higher than the city of Saginaw, it's still not quite making the grade. The city of Saginaw is 20 plus points difference. So we got. Here's some other numbers. 30% of the students from Sag United, and we're talking about the senior class, are attending a trade school, a four-year college, or a community college like Delta. What is the 70 other percent doing?
That's what I want to know.
Saginaw Township, Heritage High School, senior class. 50% of the students are doing the trade school, community college, or four-year college. What is the other 50% doing? So we have a problem. Not only are we not making the grade where we could be, I believe our students could be at 50 or higher percent of passing it. Okay? But not only they're not passing, they're not going to school. They're not doing anything to better themselves. Why? What's the issue? Our parents did. I did. You did. I don't get it. I don't get the lack of aggressiveness of wanting to do better and have a future for themselves. So we have a lot of work to do. So when we talk about education, I really think that the SAT should be taken the sophomore year, so that the last 2 years, if they don't pass a certain grade on that, then the students and the parents need to be sat down and said, this is where your scores are, this is what is happening, you need to make a decision. You're either going to stay here at the school and work on your math, science, and reading, to go to college, or you're going to go to Saginaw Career Complex and you're going to learn a trade. And guess what? You have 6 weeks to decide what kind of trade you want to at least try. And then they get 2 years of that training. Now, a lot of people say, well, that's already happening. No, it's not. Most students test into Saginaw Career Complex. They say, nope, you don't have the grades to even come to over here.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah, you have to test. You have to test in there.
Okay.
You also actually stage one is you have to have good grades. You know, you can't be failing math, science. You know, you can't be failing everything, and then expect to go to Saginaw Career Complex. You got to be passing your classes, and you got to have credits. And then some programs you have to test into, and then if you don't make it, you're stuck. So then they're stuck at a school they don't want to be at. They're stuck at a school where they kind of feel like they don't have a future. And that's where you get to the lack of aggressiveness of wanting to have an education. So I believe that each student should have a choice, and that each school district, each high school should have the opportunities for these kids. And I'm sorry, we got to start making these kids make a decision what they want to do with their lives instead of waiting. You know, because I mean, I was a teacher. I was at the conferences, and we had little Timmy he just not good in school. We'll just let him get through, and he'll make a decision by age 28. You know, and hey, parents, no, no, they need to make decisions now, so that we can get them rolling. And here's the reason why. Because corporate or international businesses, or just any kind of business, they get online, and the first thing they look is crime, education, and the availability to buy homes, and how good are their neighborhoods. So businesses look at our test scores, and they're just like, whoa, they're not being trained. They're not making the grade. And then they click on crime.
Yeah.
And we are considered the third worst city in America in terms of crime per capita. And I've been there. We were first a couple times when I was in office. And we could talk about that unless you have more education.
Well, I do have I wanted to stick on this for 1 second because I think it's so important. Because the kids, it's not just the kids, it's the family. It's the families. And I know some of the schools, and I don't even know if any of the schools have like before and after care. And that can really be difficult for families that are trying to work. And I just wonder, what can we do more for families to help them support their students, or give them the information or whatever they need? Like, what's holding families back from helping their kids be more successful in schools?
You know, I always I thought, man, this is a family problem, and you can you can kind of say that's it. But the reality is that we have parents working 2-3 jobs. They're barely home. They barely can check on their kids if they're doing homework. They can barely work with their kids. So I think you hit kind of a point of after-school programs, and have the kids sign up. Now, the kids don't want to stay that late. Well, you may not have to because your mom and dad are working. And we need to make sure that your homework is getting done and completed. And I know there is a school that dismissed the students, and they're locked out of the school. Like pushed out. Bye. Gone. Maybe they have 1 or 2 programs running once a week, twice a week, and that's it. But 95% 95% of the students are kicked out of the school unless you're playing a sport or you're getting a little extra help. There's no programs for after school. So I think the state government needs to develop after school program, either vouchers or after school program, money for after school programs. You know, and school district is a priority. There are some school districts in Oakland County where I know for a fact that they have after school programs. And there are times where their schools don't close till 10 o'clock at night. We close our schools at 3:45.
Yeah, that's so crazy. Like, why do some school districts have so much and other school districts have so little? I know that this per pupil amount is the same for every student across the state. So all the students are getting, I think this year, is $10,000 or $10,200, I think. And so they're all getting the same amount per student. But of course, if you have less students, you're going to have less money. So that's one thing. And then we have our property taxes, which everybody says are too high. And so we don't want to do any bonds. But the bonds can't be used for after-school programs anyway. That's just for renovations and making like better school spaces. What are your thoughts about that? Like, why some schools have so much and some schools have so little, and people don't want to pay for extra things, you know what I mean? So we say, well, let's get some money from the government to pay for these programs. Well, people are already annoyed about paying taxes.
Yeah, so this is called a quality of life in terms of your children's education. And then eventually it's a quality of life in how your community will end up looking like or is going to be. Which means each school board has a decision that they have to make. How are they going to spend their money, and how are they going to disseminate it to the different programs? Now, you hit the program. If school districts don't raise bonds to fix their schools, then they're going to have to use it from their general fund. So that's some of the reasons why you don't see these programs, because they have to use use the general funds to fix the quality of each school. And then that's equipment and books and everything. Obviously, bond issues are not used for books, but it can be used to fix your schools.
So that other money can be freed up.
Money can be freed up. Correct. Correct.
Makes sense.
But there also needs, I think, some after-school programs need to be assigned to school districts. I think that's for extra help. But I think the state of Michigan, we were $27 billion more when the beginning of COVID till now. So in between COVID and now, we increased $27 billion in spending. How is that possible? And so it's based on priorities. Did we spend it on the things that we needed to? I would say no. And the taxpayers don't see it. Taxpayers see it as you're just spending our money and we don't know what is on. So those are the issues. So I really want to focus education big time because we can do better. You know, if Mississippi can be 4th in the country now, when they were like 48th in the country,
It's possible.
We're 44. We're 44 right now. We don't even hit Casey Kasem's top 40. We don't even come close. So you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do. I'm old enough to know Casey Kasem.
Yeah. So we have a lot of work to do. So we have to put almost everything on the table right now and take a look at what we're doing and how we're disseminating our education to our children and to the taxpayers.
Yes, so that's really great. So we got education we covered. So, we could talk about education for all day, just that.
Let's talk about crime.
Yeah, the
Because that's the second layer of the cake.
It's definitely the second layer, because when the kids don't have anything to do after school and they go home, and I'll just tell a quick story. A friend of mine was at a gas station on Michigan, and 3 young kids came out with a gun and like tried to kill her, like shot 16 times and everything. And
Where was this, in the city?
yeah, right on Michigan, over on Michigan. And she's also, I mean, she lives in the city and she knows people that have just been murdered. And it seems like a lot of young kids.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, people aren't going to bring their businesses and move to Saginaw if they're like, oh, this is a high crime area. So I'm really interested, and I think you're 100% right. It starts with the education and helping families get their kids to school and help that whole school process. But there's got to be just more than that. Like, how can we solve this problem?
So, like I said, and it's even before I was on city council, crime has been a tragedy for the city of Saginaw and Saginaw County. There are times that we've improved it, and then times it's slipped back to its old ways. It's slipping back now because of the lack of jobs. Mm-hmm. So let's talk a little bit about crime. A lot of concerned citizens came to me, and I actually brought 6 concerned citizens to the chief of police this summer. We kind of had a private roundtable with him, and that was for the citizens to give him their concerns about the crime. And then he gave his overview of what he heard, but he also told us some of the problems he was having. So some of the problems that he's having is the cooperation from the state legislators, and then also the ones that go to Washington, D.C. Right now, the ones going to Washington, D.C. are becoming very unsuccessful in bringing home the bacon, bringing home the dollars to help in terms of crime. He said he was shot down 4 or 5 times from our state senators and our congressmen so that he could get some help financially. And that was a problem. That's shocking. And on top of it, there are 2 pieces of legislation, and I don't know the House numbers, that were passed by the State House around February or March of this year. Mm-hmm. And it stayed on the desk of the Democrat majority leader for the state Senate almost all the way to October. So from March, April, May, June, July, August, September, 8 months. 8 months. And in those pieces of legislation, that would have been dollars coming to distressed communities with high crime. So that includes Saginaw. Well, that would have helped with overtime. That would have helped with agencies to combine and to put crime task force together. That would have brought equipment and a whole bunch of other stuff. And they sat on it. Now, they say Democrats represent majority of the urban communities, correct?
Yeah, that's what they say.
Why would they sit on it?
I have no idea. Did it pass?
Eventually.
Eventually, okay.
In October.
Slow rolling.
October. Why? They say crime is business. What? I couldn't believe what I heard. But yeah, Andrew. Crime is a business.
Business for who? Well, besides the criminals.
No, it's criminal system.
Right.
That's the only thing I could think of. But get past that, get past what they said. Our community, city of Saginaw, the blood stain on the street just got redder and redder throughout the whole summer. And it's shocking, and it's shameful that people would play politics with the lives of our citizens. Now, we have to be responsible. Okay, but when I was on city council, I did about 25 ride-alongs, and there were times we would do roll call, and then you would see the ATF, the DEA, Michigan Departments of Corrections, FBI, the Sheriff Department, other departments in Saginaw County all come together, and they would do raids. And that was based on the intel they would have. And I would go on with them with these raids. And our chief of police said, "We don't have money for that, Andrew. We don't have the time. Right now, the city is doing reactive policing. They're not doing proactive policing." And so basically, they're reacting after the crime was committed instead of trying to stop it, using the intel and the work that they have to stop the crimes. And that's part of the problem that we have. The other problem is what you said. We don't have enough of things for our students, our young kids to do. We don't have good recreation programs, and I thank God, first of all, for the stuff that we do have, and that's why I'm really into coaching. I was into coaching because kids can't do anything if you keep them off the streets, right? And that was the same thing with my kids. You guys aren't laying down and playing video games. We're going to practice. We're going to games. We're doing the things that we need to do. So it's a priority in the communities. And when I was on city council, we supported a couple organizations like the First Ward Community Center and the Civitan. We opened the Civitan. We found funds, and then we had local business leaders and entrepreneurs bring money in to support those programs, and it really worked. We had the kids off the streets playing basketball in the summer, boys and girls, and we did all the things necessary that we could, but it doesn't last that long. So we got to find ways to make that happen in communities. Some communities have a tax. I can't remember which ones they were, so I don't want to say misspeak. But they would have a tax, to support programs like the what is that on Center Street? Center Courts.
Yeah.
There is a tax for that. I know that for a fact. So sometimes it is a choice in the communities of whether you have facilities like that or not. Should the state say, "Hey, here's some money to start something"? Yeah. You know why I say that? You know what NGOs are, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's, I think, what non-government organizations should be for. Should be for someone who has an idea and says, "Hey, I have a program here for kids so that urban young kids in the city can play soccer. So they can have the funds to start their travel soccer programs, and they can team up with the Saginaw Township organization." We don't have anything like that. Or our baseball programs. We could have stronger baseball programs, basketball programs. We got coaches all over the place.
Just don't have any place to play around here very much.
We don't have funding. Funding's number one. Funding is number one. I'm pretty sure Saginaw Township Soccer Association would definitely work with us, but we don't have the funding. And but once we get the funding, that we can get things rolling. So I think that's going to be a priority of mine. When they come to me, and this is the reality, when they come to me and everybody has an idea, we try to get those passed through the state Senate. So this is a priority based upon each individual person and can they get that funding passed. And I'd rather see funding go to recreation. That's my point. Mm-hmm. And that would be a top priority for me.
And get some more resources in for our police department so they can be more proactive instead of reactive.
And get it done, not just have it sit on somebody's desk for 8 months. So it's basically, like you said, the funding for the police, funding for recreation, and funding for after-school activities or after-school academics to improve our academics. It's going to be a top priority for me.
That's awesome. But I have to ask you, because the Republican platform is often less tax. We don't want to pay taxes. Like, I was listening to some of the candidates for governor, and they're all talking about we need to get rid of property tax. We need to get rid of state income tax. And I'm like, well, how are we going to fund anything? Like, what the heck? Like, we're the community. This is our home. Like, this is where we live. Like, if you want things, somebody's got to pay for it. So, like, who's going to put these programs together? Like, is it just like volunteers? Or like getting more volunteers, more people just to donate out of their pocket? Or should we really come up with a wiser way to spend the money that we are collecting? Or should we even try to collect a little bit more money?
So first of all, I'm one of the people that think that we are collecting enough. If you can find 27 billion more, well, then that means we're having a priority issue, meaning where are our true priorities? I believe we don't have to tax more. I believe we need to make the right decisions. And if there's tough decisions that need to be made, then we need to see what we can do and make those decisions. Because the reality is if you take a look at the state of Florida, state of Tennessee, Georgia, they're making it happen. So kind of to answer your question, there is a template out there already, kind of the game plan there to execute it. We need to execute our game plan here in the state of Michigan just differently. We have the tax base. We have it already. I don't think there is a reason that we need to raise our taxes. Now, if a community like Saginaw Township wants to do something for a bond issue for the schools, which they already tried to do, that's their decision. You know, to the credit to the city of Saginaw, the taxpayers said, yes, we want you to build a new high school. We want you to build, help improve the elementary schools. And here's the tax, you know, and they gave us the tax bond, the bond issue. And they're implementing it. And they're doing a good job doing it. I'll tell you right now, they are. They are doing a good job implementing it. And, you know, Saginaw United is probably the most modern high school in an 80-mile radius. You can go county into county and you won't see a school like Saginaw United. So that is a priority from the citizens of Saginaw, and each community is going to have to make those priorities. But I don't think we need to spend more. I definitely don't think we need to raise more taxes. We just need to prioritize better.
Prioritize better.
Prioritize better.
Efficiency, productivity, prioritization.
At 100%. And the other thing is leadership. I could say that here, but can I convince the other members of the state senate, and then work with my fellow state representatives?
Well, that's the question. Can you?
Yeah, I can. I could talk to people. Yeah, I could talk. We can sit down and have a Coke and have a discussion of these issues. Because my priorities are also the priorities in Grand Rapids, Lansing. You actually go out into the thumb, believe it or not, it's the same issues, just at different levels. But they all want better schools. They all want recreation for the kids. They all want make sure that the crime levels are low. So this isn't just a Saginaw issue. These are issues that we could solve and issues that we could support all over the state of Michigan. So that's why I believe, it can be done. But are we having these conversations? No, we're having division.
Is there competition between counties and
100%.
and everything to get the dollars?
100%. Yeah, 100%. And then you know what the other competition is? Is the county commissioners distributing all the money to the different townships within their county. That's a problem too. So yeah, everything's a competition. So it's whether or not we can bring those dollars back here for the county. And that's why the citizens and people like me and you are mad that we haven't had representation, and we won't have representation for 16 months, over 500 and some days. And finally, by May 6th of 2026, we'll have representation. And that's not right. Because we're losing out in dollars. We're losing out in funding.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I never thought about it like that. We don't have anybody working to bring money into our area.
We do, but they're state representatives. But the other piece of the puzzle, well, one other big piece of the puzzle is the state senate. And if you don't have no representation, then you have nobody fighting for you. You know, we have state senators asking, I'm sorry, we have state representatives asking state senators to fight for us, but we don't have that main person.
Well, what makes you feel like you're ready to be a state senator?
Well, I think my background, starting from working on the farms to being a teacher, being a member of city council, I've worked with billionaires and millionaires. I've also worked with people who have been really down on their luck. And I've also, you know, been able to see what a vision can be, because we were able to fix a lot of things. And I believe that I'm an individual person that can work with anybody, you know, as long as you're able to work, wanting to work. Because just because I can work doesn't mean the other person I'm talking to wants to. So you got to have conversations, and I can have conversations with people, and to have really aggressive approach to things to get things done. I really do have the background, you know, and I rarely will talk badly about my opponents. They don't have the experience I have. I'm the only one out of the 4 Republicans, the only one that has a background in government.
Okay. I think that is important, because you know how it is to work with council members and working for a purpose for the city or the town.
So on city council, I worked with business leaders. I worked with volunteers. I worked with neighborhood associations. And those are the backbones of a community. That's what makes a community run. And to have conversations all the time with them, and to sit down with them. And here's an example. So we had a park, I can't remember the name of the park, but we had a park that was closing down. The city wanted to close it down, and citizens came, they wrote letters and everything, and they came to us and they said, Andrew, we don't want to close down. I'm like, well, why? And then I found and investigated, well, why are we closing this down? There was really no reason. So we were like, no, we're going to keep this open. And the city manager didn't like it, and I didn't care. It's what the citizens wanted. They were willing to donate money to keep it running, cut the grass themselves, you know, do all this stuff. They're like, well, hold on, that's kind of really our job, because that's what our tax dollars are going for. So let's see if we can reprioritize. And we actually had a working foundation together. We're, I can't say the word right, philanthropist?
Philanthropy?
So, yes, and the city government working together, and it worked.
Okay, I love that.
But we had to work it. We had, you know, it's like they say that it's make sausage. It's not pretty, but at the end you have a good result, right? And that's what we're able to do. And you know, I've done it, and I can definitely say I am ready to do that. You know, and it's not just that. I mean, it's studying, it's reading, being able to develop policy.
Yeah, exactly.
To be able to read policy and understand what it means, and to be able to say, oh man, I can't believe you guys have been doing this for decades. We need to change that up.
Do you go to the state legislative page where it has all the bills? Do you keep track of the bills that are coming in?
I have people keeping me up to date on stuff. My big issue is really the education stuff that's been coming out the last couple of weeks is pretty gross. I don't know if I want to touch that or not.
I don't know. I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, it's the Michigan Department of Education and mostly Michigan Board of Education passed a bill or two on November 13th that had to do with basically about how sex ed is going to be taught from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade.
Oh yeah, I saw on the Saginaw Republican page they had a big message on there about that.
It's not good.
It's not. How come?
Well, they did 50 some pages, and then the week before of November 13th, they added 25 more pages. They tried to slip it in. Basically, I believe it's grooming our children. And starting from kindergarten to tell them it's okay for a boy to be a girl and a girl to be a boy. And then they escalate it as you go into the grades, up in grade level. And I don't think that's right. I think parents should have the choice of what their children should be and how they're taught. And I don't think the government should demand teachers who are not trained to teach sex ed like that. And I think that's the issue. And that's going to be a priority for me to get that not implemented to the schools. I don't think that's right.
How do you think that they're grooming? Like, what does that mean?
Well, I mean, they're basically telling kids that boys can be a girl and girls can be a boy. That's not right. That's not true. First of all, it's not true. That's not possible. Is it a decision? Yes, but that's not science. That is not science.
Is there any sex ed that you would support? Because
I sex ed, I believe that you should support. Girls, should be treated with respect and dignity, and boys should be treated the same way, but they should treat girls the same way, and you treat it by science. This is what a boy is. This is what a girl is, and we move that throughout the years. Now, if they want to do whatever they want to do after past 18 or older, that's none of my business. They can do whatever they want. But I don't believe that we should teach our children that.
And what about the kids that are that? How would they?
Well, let's do it.
I'm just curious.
Let's do it this way. Everybody says it's an 80-20 issue. I'm going out there talking about this. It's more like 95 to 5%. So you're talking about a 5% issue, and that's a problem. You can't put a theory on people that don't want it, and they don't want it. Now they're letting the politicians go through it because some people say, well, that's what you're elected for. You're there to stop it. You can only stop so much. Now you can stop the Michigan Board of Education because they're policy writers. Okay, the people that say what is law and not law are the state legislators, the state senators, the state representatives. So we have to decide what we're going to do. Now, to answer your question, if you want to re-answer that, ask me again.
Well, I just, there are kids who are gay or trans or aren't sure what's going on.
Kindergarten?
Well, I don't know about.
But that's what they're doing. You can't tell me a 6-year-old says I'm gay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's no. And then a 7-year-old, eight. I mean, we start going on. Where do we end that, or where do we start that? Do we start at kindergarten?
Well, that's what we need to discuss as a community, I guess, how we want to approach it. So we talked about education. Oh shoot, we gotta wrap this up.
Oh, man.
Andrew, I know it was like 3:15. Your person's gonna be here.
She's all right. She would have called me, right?
Okay, so we talked about education, safety, which all ties back to the economic situation. So this is why I was wondering about that. Can we bring businesses here in our current state? Like, can we promote us, or do we need to fix these things first before we can really start to bring businesses here? We got the medical diamond coming in. We've got Corning going out to Richland Township. We've got the Hemlock Semiconductor investing. So there are investments coming into the county. How do we get people to want to move here into our county and not Bay City, Midland, or some of the surrounding areas?
Okay. Fortunately and unfortunately, we have to do everything simultaneously. Even though we've just said that the machine is not working right now, but we're going to have to start it all together at once. So to answer your question, yes, we can do it. We need to get serious with our students. Like I said, I think having professionals come to our high schoolers and tell them, this is what we need and this is what we want. These are your possibilities. Let's go. We already have the foundation of the education. We have Delta College, SVSU, Northwood. I'm missing one. We have the colleges. We also have some of the trade schools here. Do we need more? Yes, we do need more. But we got to get the kids involved in wanting to go in those directions. Want to be a welder, want to be an electrician, a plumber. You're going to make a lot of money doing that stuff. And I just heard statistics. For every 5 retirees, there's only 2 replacing the retirees. So there are jobs. They said there's 400,000 vacancies in the United States. Wow, that means we have jobs. But here in Saginaw, we have property for opportunities for businesses to come here. We need to sell those properties. We need to I call it the Batman sign. You know how the Batman signs and Batman, we need you? Mm-hmm. Well, we need to put open for business.
Yeah.
And my philosophy right now is everything needs to be on the table when it comes to economic development, as long as it doesn't adversely hurt our environment. We need to put everything on the table. Medical. We need to bring back some factories, textiles, EV plants. We need, people talking about building drones, drone factories. I got a guy coming to me talking about a hemp factory and how hemp can help our community. He just has like 30 different products that he can push out with hemp. That's a different idea, isn't it?
I love that idea.
Yeah, so we have the ideas. We just need to make sure that the state of Michigan, I have an idea, and that is that all these factories and plants and property that's been, that are gone, we need to bulldoze it, environmentally clean it up, and get it on the market. And communities like the city of Saginaw and the township are going to need state funding to get that all cleaned up, because it costs millions of dollars. You know what? It's worth those millions of dollars if you can bring back factories here. And no matter what people say about Trump, if he can bring these factories back, because I saw them leave us, I would love to see them come back. And if they can come back, we'll be just fine then. But we got to set the foundation, or as they say, set the Thanksgiving table, right? Before you can eat. There you go. The one, I think one of the last things before we go, I really want to talk about is women's rights. In my pamphlet that I have that I'll give you later on,
Okay.
it talks about women's rights. Well, not talked about, but it's just one of the priorities of mine is about women's rights. You know, I have a daughter, and I told her I was running for office. She grilled me.
She did?
Krista, she grilled me.
Why did she? What she say?
Why? Why? What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Why? What? You know,
That.
like that. Let's go, Dad. You know, just don't sit in front of me and tell me you're gonna do this, and expect me as a woman to vote for you.
Right.
And I take that very personally. You know, because I want a good communities for my daughter. I want good jobs, and but I also want her to be respected. And I believe women are not being respected right now in our society, and that's got to change. And I'm going to make sure that, you know, if I'm fortunate enough to go to the state senate, that's going to be a top priority.
Well, what about, I have to ask because you brought it up. What if Republicans get into office and win everything and they try to abolish our ability to have abortions in Michigan, take away our protections there that Gretchen Whitmer and her team has put in place?
Well, first of all, a lot of people disagree, but I agree that the United States Supreme Court did the right thing. And that is bringing the issue to abortion to each individual state. It's an individual state right. Okay, that was step one. Step two was, what is the state of Michigan going to do? What is the state of Michigan going to do? Well, we voted on it. So it is now embedded as law. So I disagree that the state senate and the state house can change that. And if they're going to say, we voted for you to change that, I'd be like, no, actually, the voters of the state of Michigan already said what they wanted to do. If they want to change it, then they need to do the process of putting it back on the ballot to change it. I don't think it's I think it's wrong. Let's say it this way. I think it's wrong for me to change the will of the voters. I was in that position in the city of Saginaw when the first marijuana medical card thing came up, passed. We had city council members. They're like, "Oh, that's not gonna. We're gonna put a law in and say, you know, we're not gonna recognize that." And I wasn't for it. I wasn't for medical marijuana. But when they brought that up to the city council, I turned to my left and right. I said, "Are you seriously going to change the will of the people? You're saying that we're better? We know better than the voters? No, we don't. The voters have spoken. If they want to change it, the citizens have to put it on the ballot then. I won't do it. I won't put it on the ballot." And it's probably why I'm not supported by the pro-life right to life.
Ah, I see.
The other thing, and this is another thing I want to talk about, our youth. They're struggling and trying to find housing, affordable homes, and being able to get a down payment and being able to steady jobs to be able to afford a home. And then we have, I know a lot of single women who are just working their butts off, but the housing is too expensive. So that's a nut that's going to be hard to crack.
Build more homes in Saginaw?
Build more affordable, efficient homes. We can do that. But who has the investment to do that? Do individuals have it? Or do you want corporations to buy all these homes? Because that's what's happening now. Mm-hmm. What is it, Blackstone they're talking about? That's buying up all the housing and then turning it around to people to buy a home that's way out of their ability to afford. It's not working for us, you know. And people say, well, that's, you know, that's a Democrat issue. I go, no, you talk to any youth, they want to move out of their parents' house. They want to move out of the basement. They want to leave. They want to have their space. It's time for them to grow up, but they can't afford it. So one way to solve the problem is good jobs. Good jobs that pay well, and also it's the responsibility of the individual to actually keep a job. You know, I talked to a real estate lady, and she goes, Andrew, you got to have a job for at least 2 years. You know, you got to show that you can keep a job, that you stay at a job.
Right.
And she said, so that's step one. And step two then is to save money, and then step three is to get yourself approved.
Well, let me just ask you this before we do a final, any other last issues. You have to tell us about your disability. You know, we're all going to be super curious, like, when did you become blind and how did that happen?
Let's see, my blindness set in on, I know the exact dates. The start of it started May 11th of 2023, and I literally lost full vision in November of 2023. It all happened in 6 months. I'm learning to be adjusted to being blind. I don't know how to read Braille yet. I'm learning how to use my phone.
Okay.
Learning how to use my phone. This is a lifeline for me.
Yeah.
And even though I do believe, and we haven't talked about this either, I believe electronics need to be rethought with parents about how young they should be starting on them, because it's really hurting them. But anyways, for me, everything is new. I think people are like, you don't walk right. And I'm like, well, I'm still learning to trust myself.
Oh my gosh.
To walk. It's
I can totally understand.
Yeah.
Your balance and everything.
Yeah, I have to trust myself, and I'm just a little bit leery. But hey, I only fell once, so
Okay.
so I'm doing good. But I have a good support system, and I thank God for me pushing me to get that support. I was being very prideful and depending on people, and then I had actually the same lady that was the real estate lady. She's a very strong woman. She goes, Andrew, you just need to just do it. She goes, shouldn't expect your kids and everything to jump for you, and I actually started to get myself enrolled in the programs, and yeah, they work. They're there for you. You just gotta find them. You gotta find the right people to help you. And I'm actually on the Region 7 steering committee, and that's to help people with disabilities and handicaps to see what's good and what's not good, and what can the state of Michigan, the Michigan Department of Human Services can do to help us. So. They said you could talk, so I'm on those committees now. You know, I thank God every day that I have the strength and the ability that I have now. I'm still able to talk and think and be able to express everybody what I'm thinking and what I believe in, and that's one of the reasons why I believe I can be a state senator. You know, I just need just a little extra help. That's all.
Yeah, well, you'd be listening to a lot of good audio comprehension.
100%. Yeah.
Well, let's do a final wrap. So we talked about a lot of things. Is there anything else you want to mention or talk about or say as we're wrapping up here?
I think a couple things. The number one thing is that I want everybody to pass on to one another that there is a special election in the 35th District that covers Saginaw, Midland, and Bay City. A lot of the townships that surround Midland, Bay City, and Saginaw are involved in this special election. And I want everybody to exercise their right to vote. And it's important for them not to forget. And we're doing, I have to say, even though we have 10 candidates, 10 of us are going to be reminding everybody
I know.
to vote. And I think that's great.
And I will too. I'll be out there pushing
Yes.
a lot of social promos about the election coming up.
Yep. So I think that's number one that I want our citizens to know. The other thing is I want to make sure everybody has a great holidays coming up. You know, where Thanksgiving's coming up right now, and then Christmas and New Year's. But to think about all the great things that they have, the opportunities, the blessings, and then to share them with their family and friends. And if someone could at least call up a person that they know that's sick or ill, call them up and have a conversation with them. Believe it or not, I remember when I was in rehab, I wanted conversation. I wanted to talk to people. Someone who's sick, they need it. Give them that time, even if it's 10 minutes. And then also, if they have an opportunity to give a child maybe a toy, maybe you know someone that, maybe needs that extra Five Below toy and give it to them, that'd be great. And believe it or not, seniors love games.
Oh.
They love games and puzzles. And have a conversation with somebody, and then maybe give a warm meal to somebody that may need it. Maybe it's just a gift card or to Bob Evans or something. And I think giving back to the community is really important. And we look forward to doing that. And hopefully they can warm their heart and get through the holiday seasons and start the new year.
Andrew, it's been such a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you too. God bless you.